Yeah, Opal, if you can see my screen.
Yes, sir, it's visible now.
Okay. So, yesterday you understood how to copy the directory tree, okay, from source to the destination, and how to copy a single file, how to copy a single contents of the single folder to the destination, and then you understood how to permanently delete the files and folders using a Python program, and then we also understood how to perform the safe deletes in the Python program. So to perform the safe deletes in Python program, you have to use or import a module called as send to thrash. Now, and whenever you want to delete after importing send to thrash, okay, say here I'm creating the file, so opening the file background.txt in the append mode and writing something to it and closing it, okay. And what is this 25? It's just a written value from the write always returns the number of bytes written, okay. And then here I am interested in deleting this file, so performing the safe deletes. So I'm invoking the execution of send to thrash and passing the file name which I want to delete. So this file will not be permanently deleted, instead it will be moved to the thrash or the recycle bin, and you can restore if you want later. Next is working a directory tree, okay. So earlier classes, in the previous class, so day before yesterday, you understood how to copy the directory tree to the destination. Now in case if I want to iterate over all the subdirectories and the files which are present in under some directory tree, how to do that, okay. So that can be again easily done in Python. Working through the directory is so very easy in Python, okay. So if you want to, say for example, when you will be working through the directory tree, say if you want to rename every file in some folder and also every file in every subfolder of that folder, so then you can go for using the directory tree. So and in just a click you can go for renaming everything which is present inside the directory tree, okay. And Python provides the built-in functions to handle this process for you, okay. Now what are those built-in functions that are offered by the Python in order to work through the directory tree? We'll see. Now before we look into the functions that are offered by the Python programming language in order to work through the directory tree, so this is just an example for the directory tree, okay. So you can see this as the root path, and inside this root path we have these subfolders, okay. So delicious, walnut, okay. And again under delicious there is a subfolder with the name cats, and under this delicious there is another subfolder or subdirectory with the name walnut, and which in turn has one more subfolder with the name waffles, okay. This is a complete directory tree, and this directory tree along with the subdirectories and the files can be easily traversed using the functions that are offered by the Python programming language. Now what is that function that is offered by the Python programming language in order to work through the tree very easily? So the name also easy to remember, okay. Walk is the name of the function. And where is this present? So can it be used directly without importing any other module? No, not at all possible. So since Python is kept very light, so by default it's not going to import all the modules. So it is intentionally made as lightweight just to see that the programs execute much faster. Now you got to import the OS module. You know how to import the OS module. So because earlier classes you have understood it. Now when you import OS module, this OS module also has a method called as a walk. And in the earlier classes we executed many of the functions which were nested inside the path of the OS module. So now this walk, when you want to invoke the execution of a walk, so you don't have to call the path. Okay, so directly you can go for invoking the execution of walk by using the name of the module, that is OS. Okay, now this is the function. Okay, and we are going to pass a single argument to this walk. And what is that? Single argument is the path of the root folder from where you need to start walking through the directory tree. Okay, and this function can also be used inside the looping constructs in order to walk through the directory tree. So much like the range function, I hope you people remember this. So in order to iterate over a specified number of over the range of numbers, we were using this function inside the for loop. Okay, so something similar to this, even os.walk function can also be used inside the looping constructs such as for loops in order to walk through the directory tree. Okay, so now this os.function walk function will return 3 values. So but range used to return only one value for you, but this method, walk method, which is present inside the OS module, returns you 3 values. What are those 3 values? One is the current folder's name, so the folder, the current folder from where you're starting, and then it also returns you the subfolders of the current folder, and also returns you these files in the current folder. So these are the 3 pieces of information what the walk method is going to return you. That is the speciality of the walk method. It is not just returning one value, we have it returning 3 values: current folder name, subfolders names inside that current folder, and also the files under the current folder. And since if you calling this, if you're writing this os.walk function inside a looping construct such as for loop, and the same thing can be iterated over all the subdirectories. Now an example on that. So as usual, even for walking through the directory tree, you require the module OS. So we are importing the OS module, and then so if you just look into this for loop, you'll get to know. So that os.walk returns you 3 strings. 3 strings it is returning. One is the current folder name, subfolder names, and then the file names. So all the 3 it is returning. So earlier, say for example, if I want to perform the collective operation on the multiple files while opening the file, so I used to use the method called as zip. Now that is not necessary here. Okay, so os.walk itself returns you the multiple values. So folder name, current folder name, subfolder name, and then the file name under it. And now what is the root from where I am starting? So this is the path which I am passing as argument to it. It always starts from C drive delicious. Okay, and then I am printing the current folder name. So as I already mentioned, so this first parameter, or the first variable to this for loop, is the folder name which holds the current folder name, and for subfolder in subfolders. Okay, so this is subfolders. I have iteration variable with the name subfolder. Now I check whether there are any subfolders present inside the current folder, and then if it is present, then I go for displaying the name of the subfolder as well. Subfolder of so and so is so and so, and then I look whether there are any files present inside the same directory. So for file and file names, I go for displaying. See, such an easy program. Okay, so it's the same thing if you want to do in some other programming language. It is not as easy as this. So look into the number of lines of code also what you have written. Okay, it's too short and looks so sweet. Okay, hope you people are following.
Yes, sir.
So it's the same thing if you want to do in the Java or C Sharp. So it's not going to get over in these many lines of code. Okay, you have to write lot more of code. Okay, and you got to remember even lot more. Now what is that you're remembering? Only this method, walk, and you should know how many values it returns. It returns 3 things, that's all, and the rest all you can do by yourself. Okay, so this is again a working example. We'll go for quickly executing this. Okay, let me see what is my I think my present working directory will be Arish BT. So get cwd. Oh, I have to import the module. Import os dot get cwd. So this is my current working directory, and if you just look into this, so that I have created yesterday, I have created one subfolder also under this list dir. So there is one subfolder also. So this is the folder, Arish is the folder, and there is also a file present under it. So now we'll go for running this program. Okay, now this one I'll change it to this path, my own current directory I'll give it. Okay, I've given my own directory. So you can see here all the files. It's still running. There are many things because I had many folders also along with that. So all this which is starting with the dot or the folders, it's doing it. Still going for displaying all the subfolders and the content of those folders. So such a small program, so it's showing you working through your entire directory structure. I think it is done. Yeah. So it is finished, but is it still going? Yes, it's still running. It's still running. I can show you that directory because a lot more is there inside that directory. I'll just show you my current working directory. Okay, so I don't know, it's taking time. Okay, File Explorer. I should have tried it on a different folder. It's okay, no problem. I'll show you. C drive. So my laptop is always slow because there are many services which are running in the background. So even though I have an 8 GB RAM, majority of the time I experience this. So because the number of services running in the background are more. Okay, so users, Harish BT. Yeah, see, these many folders are there. Again, in these, all these folders, there are subdirectories, and it is recursively going with all these things. Okay, so if you just open this, so this again, this has a directory, and this if I open, so you can find one more subdirectory, something like this. Okay, now it's still running. Okay, let me stop it. Oh, so not right here. Okay, I've stopped it. I've interrupted it and I've stopped it. So if the program is running, if I want to stop in between, I can stop from here. Since it was executed from the interactive Python iConsole, so I have to stop it here. I have stopped it right now. So if you just look here, see all the file. See, this is a file inside. So file inside this directory. Okay, so it is displaying all these things. So we'll continue with the next one. I hope you people understood.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is the sample output of the same, so which I showed you just now. So executed on a very few number of folders. Okay. Now you understood how to walk through the directory tree. So next thing is how do we compress the files with zip file module. So all of you know compressing and uncompressing the files. So normally when you want to transfer the file from one to the other via the network, we go for compressing it, because compressing reduces the size and you can go for easily transferring it. Now you can easily do that in Python. Okay, so it provides a module with the name zip file. Okay, so zip file is the module which can be used in order to compress the files, and using the same module even you can go for uncompressing the compressed ones. Okay, and zip function we already understood in the previous classes, and that zip is totally different from this. Now that was only zip which was used in order to collectively iterate over the multiple iteratable objects. But this zip is something, zip file is something used for archiving the file. Okay, so and if you just pass the root folder as argument to this zip file, so it's going to compress everything which is present inside that root folder, all the subfolders and all the files which are there inside that root folder, so they will be compressed. And hence you can also call it as an archive file, because everything is compressed and made as one file. And using the same zip module again, zip file module, even you can go for uncompressing or extracting the files back to the original size. Okay, so same thing we discuss now. Now before we look into how to compress the files, okay, first we will try to understand how do we read the zip files. Say I have some zip file already. Okay, how do I go for reading it? So for reading the zip files, first you must create this zip file object. So as I already told, a zip file is an object, sorry, a module. Now I have to create an object of that. So, and one thing you have to notice here, when you're creating the zip file object, so you have to use this zip file, and in this Z is uppercase and F is uppercase, so you cannot make it as lower cases. So this is what you got to note down. Okay, and this zip file object, if you just look into that, it exactly same as the value that will be returned by the open function or the open method. So open method you understood, I told open method returns you the file descriptor. or you can also call it as a file object, which will be used for further communication with the file, either to perform the read or the write operation. In future we would be using what the file descriptor or the file object written by the open function. So similarly here also, so the file object that is created from the zip file module is exactly same as the return value from the open. Okay. Now how do we create? And henceforth this zip file object will be used in order to interact with the file, zip file. Okay. Now how do we create zip file object? So to create the zip file object, as I already told, so I got to specify the name of the module. So name of the module is zip file. You can just notice here the module name, what I am writing here, the zip file, everything is in lowercase, but when I am creating a zip file object by invoking the method zip file, so it is in uppercase. Z is in uppercase, F is in uppercase. Okay. Now once you pass the argument to this, it creates a file. Sorry, you don't have to pass anything. It creates a zip file object. Now on this zip file, using this zip file file object, you can go for reading the zip files. Okay. Now how? I'll show you here in the example slide. Here, see, import zip files is imported here. So I think, yeah, and then along with that we are importing the OS module also. Now since I need to unzip, uncompress the files and read it to some directory, so I am changing my present working directory to the C drive, because I want all my files to be uncompressed in the C drive. So OS dot, and this we have already understood in the earlier classes. Now how do I change directory within the Python programming language? By using os.chdar, I am changing my directory to the C colon. Next. Now this is how I am decompressing. See, zip file is the module and zip file is the method, and to this method I am passing some example zip. So any zip file, if you have, you pass it as an argument to it, and example zip is the zip file object that is created. So the example zip is the zip file object. Now to extract or read all the files which are there inside this zip file, now I have to invoke the execution of namelist method on the zip file object. So on the zip file object I am invoking the execution of the namelist, and what you get is the list of files which are present inside the zip file. See, this example.zip right now has these many files. Okay, these many files it has got. Now if you just look into this, this spam.txt is a file which is directly present under this zip file, and then cats is a folder, okay, which is present within this zip file. Now if you just look into this, so under this cats folder there is one more text file with the name cats.txt, and there is another file under the same directory, that is this an image file, okay, zofi.jpg. So this is how you can go for reading all the files or the subdirectories which are zipped within a zip file in the Python programming language. It can be done very easily. Okay. Now this is, I am reading it now. Now I have to just get the information about some file which is present inside which is uncompressed right now. Okay. So get info, there is a method with the name get info, and pass the file name as argument to it. It returns you the file information. Okay. So on spam file info, okay, I am executing file size, which is an attribute. It gives you the file size, and then so this is the normal file size, and then I am trying to get the compressed size. This is the compressed size. Okay, and now I am just trying to check the compression ratio. Okay, so the compressed file is so many times smaller, so 3.63x 3.63 times smaller than the normal size of the file. Okay, so I'm just rounding it, that's all, to the nearest value, and it is displayed using the format operator %, and this was already told to you people in the earlier classes. So spam info dot file size divided by span info dot compression size comma 2. Okay, because I want to restrict it to the 2 decimal places, and while printing, printing it in the form of a string. OP people understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, now here everything what I have already explained here. So we have a zip file object. On this zip file object, I am invoking the execution of the namelist method, which is going to fetch you all the files and folders that are contained within the zip file. Okay, and these strings, again, the values that are returned by the name list, which is in the form of a list of strings, can also be passed as an argument to get info. So if I want to know more information about each of the file, so the file can be extracted from the list of strings and then passed as an argument to get info. This, and once it is passed, all the information related to the file can be obtained. Okay. And one and two such information that we extracted here was file size and the compressed size. So file size is the normal size of the file, and compressed size is the size of the file when it was in the compressed state. Now, extracting from zip file. Okay, so this was just reading. Okay, this was just reading. Now what we are planning to do is I want to extract all the files from the zip file. So I was just reading through the zip file, all the files, and I was just looking into the attributes of the file. Okay, now in case if I want to extract them, okay, so there is a method called as extract all. Okay, and again, so if you look into this example, importing the zip file, OS, changing my directory, because when I extract, I want all the uncompressed files to be stored under this directory. So I'm changing my present working directory to C:, and then zip file dot zip. What I'm passing now is the example dot zip. This is my zip file, and on the zip file object, invoke the execution of extract all. Now what it will do, all the files and the subdirectories which are present inside this zip file, so they get extracted to where? Here. Okay, so now what I've done by doing this os.change directory, I've changed my directory. Now this will be my present working directory. So this file by default is going to extract all the files to your present working directory. In case if you're not doing this os.change directory, so even then you'll be having some folder as your present working directory, so it gets extracted there. Okay, once it is extracted, then you can go for closing all, example zip dot close. Okay, so I think I have few zip files I don't have, all rar files I have. So rar you can, dot rar you cannot give, so it should have the extension only what dot zip. Hope people are following.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next. So okay, so it gets extracted to the C:, as I already told you. Optionally, say for example, I don't want the files to be get extracted to the C:, I want them to get extracted to a folder under this C:. So then you can pass the folder name as argument. Now how to do that? Something like this. So C:, and the name of the folder where you want all the files to be extracted. In case if this folder already has some files with the same name that are being extracted from the zip file, so then they get replaced. Okay, now extract method. Till now you understood extract all. What it was doing, extracting all the files which are there in the zip files. So what if you don't want to extract all of them? Okay, so anyhow you can read what are all the files that are present inside the zip file even without extracting. Okay, now how to do that? By using the method name list, you can get the list of names that are present inside the file. I'm not interested in all of them. If I'm interested in any one specific file which is present inside the zip file, I can even go for extracting only that file. How to do that? So you got to make use of the method called as extract. Okay, and this extract method will take one single argument. What is that single argument? Is the name of the file that you're interested in extracting. Okay, now this is how you can do it. Example zip.extract spam.txt. So this I'll come here. So these were the files which are present inside the examples.zip. Now I'm not interested in all of them. I'm interested in only this text file. I want to extract only this spam.txt. Now then I can pass only that file name. And before doing extract, you should go for reading. Okay, so invoke the execution of name list and get the list of files which are present, because if you don't invoke the execution of the name list on the zip object, you won't be knowing what are the files that are present inside the zip file. First you got to know what are the files that are present inside the zip file, and then you can go for extracting only those files in which you are interested in. Okay, by passing it as an argument to extract method here. Extract, and in case what this will do now, when you're passing only one argument to extract, that is the name of the file to be extracted, it gets extracted to your present working directory or current working directory. Okay, since I did the change working directory to C:, so you can just here observe here spam.txt is extracted to C:. So I don't want it to extract to C:, I want to extract it to some specific path or a directory. So then you can even go for passing one more argument. Now when two arguments are passed, so the first argument will be taken as the name of the file to be extracted, and the second argument is taken as the destination or the path where the file should be extracted. Okay, so and then finally you should go for closing the zip file object. So that is the reason we say it is exactly similar to the return value from the open, because even return value from the open, using open, what we were doing, we were writing to the file, we were either reading from the file, and finally when I'm done with reading and writing, so what we used to do, we used to close the file. Okay, we used to close the file if you have opened the file in the normal way. So in case if you open the file using the other alternative approach, that is with statement, so closing is not necessary. Okay, because the with statement will automatically close the file the moment the control goes out of the scope. Okay, but here, so it is compulsory for you to close the zip file object after you have extracted the required files or all the files. Okay, and I think this I've already told you. So before you call the extract method, it is necessary for you to use the name list method and know what are all the files which are present inside the zip file. Now once you get the name of the file, so then you can pass that name as argument to extract, and you can go for extracting either it to the current working directory or to any desired directory which you are interested in. And one more important thing is, what does the extract returns? So extract is going to return the absolute path of the file that was extracted. Okay, it returns you, not the relative path. It's going to return the return value from the extract method is a string, which is the absolute path of the file that was extracted to the specified path. Next, till now you understood how to read a zip file without extracting, and by reading you can know what are all the files which are present, and after that you understood how to extract all the files from the zip file to some specific directory. And then you also understood how to extract any specific file, okay, only required files from the zip file using the extract method. So now it is time to understand how to create or add the files to the zip file. Okay. Again, to create your own compressed zip file, you must open the zip file object in write mode by passing w as the second argument. Now all this time what we were doing, So zip file was executed without passing any mode. Correct? Because when you understood reading the zip file, so we never passed the mode. When we extracted all, we never passed the mode. When we extracted only the specific file from the zip file, we never passed the mode. But when you are using the zip file object to add the files to zip, so then it must be opened in the write mode. Okay, so that is the first argument. This W as the second argument. So the first argument would be the name of the file. So name of the file which you want to add to the zip file, and the second argument is the W, which says this mode, write mode. Okay, so and this is exactly similar to the open. Okay, because in open also we pass W in order to open the file in the write mode. Okay, and to open a file in the read mode, so R it is, but it is not compulsory or mandatory, because by default, so it is always in the write mode. Even if you don't specify any mode, by default it gets opened in the read mode, and similarly here also. Yeah, so when you pass the path to the write method of a zip file object, so why we say write method of zip file object? See, we have seen write method called on the return value from open also, the write method called on the file object also. So now write method we are not invoking on the file object, instead we are invoking it on the zip file object. That is the reason we say write method of a zip file object. Okay, now if I invoke the write method on the file object, it is the write method of the file object. Now it is not the write method of the file object, it is the write method of the zip file object. So Python will compress the file at that path and it will add it to the zip file. Okay, and the first argument to the write method is what the string of the file name to add. Okay, and the second argument to the write method, what we are discussing now. So the first argument to the write method is the file name, and the second argument to the write method is the compression type. So which algorithm to use for compression? Okay, and the most widely used compression algorithm is the zip deflated. Okay, and this is the algorithm or the compression algorithm which suits very well for all types of data. So even the text file or the image files or the audio files or the video files, so all these things can be compressed using this algorithm, compression algorithm. Okay, so deflate. Okay, zip file dot zip underscore deflate. So this will be the second argument to the write method. Okay, and this is the most widely used compression algorithm. So there are other compression algorithms also, so but this is what we prefer to use. Now here is the example. Now see, I'm importing the zip file module, and then as I already told you, so when you're opening, say I want to compress the file spam.txt as new zip. Okay, this is the name of the zip file, and I just want to open it in what? The write mode. I'm getting the zip file object with the name new zip, and using this zip file object I'm invoking the execution of write method. Hence we say write method of what? Zip file object. Now this is the file which I want to compress, and what algorithm I need to use for compression? Zip file dot zip deflated. Okay, see, even compressing a file so can be done so easily, so with 4 lines of code. Yeah, understood?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, now we'll just execute for so we'll just execute this one and we'll try to compress some file. what happened. Okay, this is in the new line and one bracket is missing. Okay, now we'll do this. Now I'll change, okay, let me take it as new zip itself, but the file name I'll change it to the file which is there in my present working directory. Let me go for compressing this data2.csv itself, data2 csv. I'm compressing, trying to compress this. So indentation, okay. So this should, this is not indented properly. This one, I think it's fine now. Unexpected indent. Oh, again it is taking this. Oh, now it is done. Okay, so this was my program. So I've got the prompt back. This was the earlier execution, sorry. So I've got the prompt back. That means what? It is compressed. Okay, where to check this again? Let me go here. I'll just move back. I have to go and search in my present working directory, that is Arish BT. So you can find a zip file here with the name new.zip. And I click here. Yeah, you can see here new, it's a zip archive. Hello, able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you can go for compressing anything. Say this stuff is a JPEG image. Let me give this. Let me check its size first. It's 225 KB. Okay, I'll just go to properties. So yeah, 224 KB it is. Size on disk it is saying 228 KB. It's a JPEG file. Now we'll try to compress it. Stuff.jpg. Okay. JPG. Okay, I'll just compress it in the same name, stuff.zip. So it is done. Again I can check here, see stuff.zip, and the original size was 225 KB. Now it is reduced to 198 KB. Okay. Okay, we'll go to the next one. So next, okay, debugging and raising exceptions, and only few things are left out. Okay, so in the previous class you have understood how to handle the runtime errors in the Python by using try and except. Now this is what raising exception. You can go for raising your own exceptions by using something called as raise exception. Okay, so this is what you can use, and go for raising your own exceptions. So let me stop here. Tomorrow in the next class we'll just complete debugging and raising the exceptions. So the last part of this, and there are two projects in this. I think they are interesting projects. I want you people to go through it. Okay, and if possible, try to compile them, try to make it as a program, compile them, and try to execute it, because you'll understand a lot more when you do that. All programs are given. Only thing is you need to assemble them appropriately and try to execute it as a program. Okay. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, at least 48 are there. Okay. Neeraja absent. 223 absent. 425 absent. 54 absent. 104 absent. 128 present. 129 present. 131 absent. 136 present. 165 absent. Yes, man. Okay. 206. 17 CS 206. 17 CS 211 absent. 18 CS 25. Okay, present. 103. 124 absent. 125 present. 126 present. 127 absent. 129. 130 absent. 131 absent. 132. 133 absent. 134. 136 absent. 137 also. 138. 139, 141, 142, 143 absent, 144, 145, 146, 147, 148, 149, 150, 151, 152 absent, 153, 154 absent, 155 absent, 157, 158, 159 absent, 160, 161. 162, 163, 164, 165, 66, 67, 68 absent, 69 absent, so 69 absent, 70, 72 absent, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77 absent. Next 78, 79, 180, 181, 182, 183, 185, 186, 188, 404, 404, 410, 411 absent, 412, 415 is absent. 429, Sridhar, are you there? Sridhar is not there. Okay, thank you. You can leave. We'll meet again in next class. Yeah, thank you.